Yes, that's right. It's Joe here for Joyrider TV. Today we are looking at the Nacra standard rudder system. The rudder system on all of the Nacra catamarans is the same, apart from the foiling boats. Okay, so firstly, looking at the casting, we can see at the top of the casting, to lock the rudder down, there is a shaped piece, which is kind of like a hook that acts very similar to a rudder cam on a Hobie, except it's fixed in position. So that's not going to move. And then in the upper casting, at the other end of things, we've got these two rollers. So it's actually the black roller here, the one which is going to be nearer the bottom, which hooks in to that hook and locks the rudder down. So the white one adjusts how far it comes down, and it is that which is going to be adjusted if we're going to change the rake of the rudder. So the white roller at the top in there, when the rudder's down, that is sitting on top of the flat piece, and depending on how it's adjusted, it's going to influence where the rudder blade sits when it's in the down position. Taking our spanners, we can, to have a look at how that works. So with the top roller in this far back position, we can see that the rudder blade can come back further. So if you did want to have the rake of the rudder further back, then what you'd do is adjust this one further back, and you'd add extra cushion, so pieces of rubber, into the front edge of the stock there to hold it in position, because we don't want it moving while we're sailing. But what we're actually looking for with the rake of the rudder is to have the first 31% of the rudder blade forwards of the pivot, because that means that all of that leading edge of the rudder blade is going to be forwards of the pivot. So where the pivot is going to be where the thick part of the rudder blade starts. To get that in there, we're going to push the blade forwards, push this bolt as far forwards as it will go, and then tighten her up in that position. And then if I've done that nicely, yeah, it's not going to move back at all. How much pressure it needs in the blade to kick up. This is actually set. If it is kicking up too early, then this bolt can just be tightened slightly to add a little bit of extra resistance. But this bolt should slide back in the slot very freely. And one reason why with older boats especially, the rudder isn't kicking up correctly, it's not because of the springs, it's because some corrosion that's happening in this part of the rudder stock. So it's much better to take the system apart, clean it, lubricate this part of the slot to make sure that the black part, the lower part, can move forwards and backwards freely. And then the springs will pull that forwards, and that is how that system works. We'll lift the bar, and with this system, unlike the Hobie system, we're never going to have a problem with an inverted cam because we haven't got one. Yes, that's right. Like with the Hobie, what we're looking for is for these to be tight enough so it holds the blade and the stock in position, and then it's just allowed with a slight push. That is enough. Some of the bolts over time might have become slightly bent. The metal part on the hook here could start becoming deformed over time as well, and that is something you need to address. You could just take a piece of sandpaper, smooth that down again, or a gentle filing will take any burr off that and it will work much nicer. The rollers on the inside could wear over time, especially if your hookers become a bit gnarly, your rollers will wear. So you need to check this periodically to make sure that the hook isn't burred and gnarly, because that is going to chew up your rollers. They didn't have the adjustment on this top roller, so it would just be a single roller that goes through in a set position. So you may think, but how can I adjust rudder rake without any adjustment there? Well, what you could do is actually change the size of that roller. So if you want it to come down more, smaller roller. If you want it to sit back a little bit more, then a bigger roller will do the same job. Yeah, it's a great design, great rudder system. Locking down systems are problematic at the best of times, but I think this is a great solution to keep those problems to a minimum. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been informative and interesting, and I'll be back soon with some more on Joyrider TV.